Prepare to be wild.
Welcome back, everybody, to Born to be Wild's United in Stormwind set review from a wild perspective. We just wrapped up set review for the mage class, and we are now moving on to Paladin. So kicking that off will be Electric Sheep City.
Yeah, so we will start Paladin with Blessed Goods, which is a 1-mana Paladin holy spell that reads, discover a secret, weapon, or divine shield minion. So it's 1 mana. So it's odd. Check. So it's holy. So it gets pulled by the 1 mana draw a holy spell guy, whose name I'm blanking on, but you know the one.
I know the one.
Yeah. He's a good card. We run him in Odd Paladin. It's great. Do we want to use Blessed Goods in Odd Paladin, though? Discover a secret? Not really. Weapon? Not really. Divine Shield Minion? Not really. Like, it's a 1-mana card, and it discovers the thing, but all of those are... Well, Secret is less broad, but, like, we're not running this in not just Odd Paladin, but probably any Paladin deck. What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, no, I don't like it. Here's where I see this. This has synergy with the new Paladin quest and the new Paladin legendary. And so, okay, it's like it's your 1-mana spell and it has the divine shield synergy. But no, like Odd Paladin is so refined at this point. I am going to say something really mean here. The only person that will play this in Odd Paladin is Reaver Ryan. Okay, sorry. I said it. I mean, I'm poking fun. It's all in jest. Okay, it's this card is cute, but I just don't see it, right? The deck is so refined. Like, it's a budget option for a bunch of stuff. But, like, do I want to play this? No. In fact, I really struggle where to play this. If I discover it, like, this is a good arena card or something if I need to find some options, but, like, no, I really don't want to play this.
I mean, I think that the flexibility is kind of cool. It gives you options. Sort of reminds me of that Hunter card. It's that, like, 3-mana 3/3 beast that you can discover, like, a secret, a weapon, or something else. Where, I mean... nobody really runs that unless they're playing like a budget version of some sort of standard hunter, which I've thrown in. So the flexibility, that's kind of cool. You can pull a Ringling's rifle or whatever. This is neat because you can do that. If you don't have other cards, you can run this and you can find the cool things that you don't have if you're playing some sort of a budget deck. However, discover a secret. Okay, this costs 1 mana. Guess what? So do the Paladin secrets. So you could just run the secret that you want to run. So not going to do that. Yeah, you could get a cool weapon or you could whiff. Yeah, you could get Tyrion for the Divine Shield. Like, I don't know, but it just seems like at this point I would rather run the card that I want in my deck over running this.
Yeah.
So cool card, flexible, but not optimal.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So, suboptimal that I'm giving it a 1 for my rating. What do you think, Nate?
1.
It is a 1 with fun.
That's great. That brings us to City Tax. City Tax is a 2-mana Paladin spell. It's tradable, has lifesteal, and also deals 1 damage to all enemy minions. So, of course, 2 mana, 1 damage AoE with lifesteal. I immediately think of Spirit Lash. This one only hits enemy minions, though, and not our own. Mm-hmm. There are some good things about that and some bad. Like if we play Equality or Lord Barov, and then City Tax, then cool, we destroyed their stuff, but we still have ours, even though they've, been nerfed down to one health. Oh well. we also heal, so the wider they go, the more we heal. That's great. Um, Paladin has a few different archetypes in Wild, like hand buff and odd in particular. Neither one of those really want to run city tax. Whenever Death and Taxes Paladin was a thing, it didn't really want to run city tax either. It seems like a decently powerful card, just doesn't really have a home in Wild at the moment. Um, I'm just not exactly sure, even in Reno Paladin, if we would be able to cut something for city tax. I'm not sure.
It feels like it feels meta dependent to me. Like if you're seeing a bunch of aggro, maybe. I wish that it cost more and did 2 to everything, but I guess there's already a spell for that. And I don't know. When I saw this and I saw the healing, I was like, oh, my dream, heal it in. Like, will that ever be a thing? Probably not. But, I mean, there's arguable that, hey, yeah, you could throw this into Reno. If it didn't have the tradable, I wouldn't throw it in a Reno deck, but the tradable makes me think, yeah, maybe. I saw, like, point. Bodybuilder having a lot of success with Reno Paladin, and so it makes me hopeful for the class, but, like, the card itself, like, eh. The problem is you have to couple it with something else in order for a full board clear, right? I need a quality or bear off, or this isn't going to work. Because, like, I'm playing against Pirate Warrior, or playing against Murloc Paladin, or some other aggro Demon Hunter, whatever. Like, this doesn't really help me that much. Like, okay, I get the healing, but it's not going to clear the board. Unless I couple it with, like, a Thalnos or an Equality or one of those other spells. And, like, I want this to be good on its own, and it's okay on its own. And that's where I struggle. Like, it's not a bad card. It just doesn't feel like a great card or even that good of a card. And, I'm... Whatever. Hydra, what do you think?
I mean, Equality Consecrate at one point in time was really good, right?
Yeah, so you Equality City Tax instead. I mean...
So it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, that's better automatically, but nobody really Equality Consecrates anyways because no one's really playing a control Paladin these days. It's a cheaper way to do it. I think it's more flexible. The fact that it doesn't hit your own minions if you're trying to get that Spirit Lash effect sort of sucks.
There's pros and cons with that. I mean,
but it also, the pro is that it's hitting your opponent's side, right? You can Equality, your stuff lives, their stuff dies with this, right? And you heal.
Well, the Spirit Lash, when you use it on your own stuff, is also like you get the extra healing.
That's
the double side of this.
Yeah, that's the other side. Like I like that you can get a bigger heal with the Spirit Lash. This has the upside of we're going to kill the enemy board, but the downside of you don't get the heal from your side.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad card, but I also don't think it's an amazing card. It's fine, and if you don't want it, you can throw it back. I'm not really sure I'm actually going to put it in a deck unless I'm playing like a Highlander version of Paladin, and this is, favorable to the meta, so it seems a little fringy to me.
Okay, scores. What do you think?
With Paladin in particular, I think for me, City Tax is a 1 in Wild. What do you think, Nate?
I gave it a 1 as well.
I'm going to give it a 2 for its board clear potential in a Highlander deck.
Cool. Well, that brings us to Alliance Bannermen. Alliance Bannermen is a 3-mana 2/2 minion with the battle cry. Draw a minion. Give minions in your hand +1/+1. We were talking about hand buff Paladin just a little bit ago, right? And this seems like some hand buff Paladin support. It's kind of a more expensive Grime Street Outfitter. Just has a slightly bigger body and also tutors a minion, which it then buffs.
Dude.
That seems great. I'm sure that Bodybuilder will play around with this card and hand buff Paladin, and we'll see if it makes the cut. And I kind of think it does. I think Alliance Bannermen is gonna help bring hand buff Paladin back from the stagnation that it kind of felt after the Crab Rider nerf. What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, it seems good. I don't see any downside here. Like 3 mana 2/2 is not terrible. There's no downside here. So Battlecry, draw a minion, and then you buff it. Like, okay. I like drawing a minion. I like thinning my deck. I like the buff. If it was a different order, maybe they would be bad. But like, draw it then buff it. Like, dude, I don't see a downside here. This card seems pretty great to me, actually. So
and not just it, everything that's in your hand.
Yeah, and I'm no expert in this deck. Hand buff is not really my jam. I've seen a lot of other people run it, and it is legit. And I think that this definitely makes the cut. I could be wrong. If nothing else, people will test it. But when it's tested, I think that it's going to be pretty good. Yeah, Hydra, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it automatically slots in for now, and I think it's most likely going to stay. I was already looking at Bodybuilder's Theorycraft, and he's already slotted in 2 of these. Like,
there you go. Yep.
Yeah, they're already there in his Theorycraft. So I don't see a downside other than, it's low statted, but it doesn't really matter because that little tempo loss that you're getting, you've just buffed your entire hand.
It's a 3 mana. Like, if it was 4, then I'd be questioning. But at 3, like, it just seems straight up playable to me.
Yep, for sure. I fully think this is a great card, and it will go into that deck for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's talk scores.
Yeah, so I agree with all of the above, and in fact, that is why I'm giving it a 4. It's not going to define the meta, but it's going to be in a meta deck, and it's going to be really strong in said meta deck. Teetering on a 5 because if it brings hand buff Paladin from like stagnation into the forefront again, then it very well could be one element in that, and so there's a possibility for a 5, but I think I'm just going to go 4. How about you, Nate?
I gave it a 4 as well. I don't think it's like broken. That's kind of my threshold for the 5 is like it's going to get nerfed. Yeah. But this is just solid. I gave it a 4, and it was an easy 4.
Yeah, it's a solid include into a deck that already exists, which it's a 4 for sure.
Rock
4
and roll
for me.
All right, easy peasy.
Awesome. That brings us into the rares with Prismatic Jewel Kit. Prismatic Jewel Kit is a 1 mana 0/3 Paladin weapon that reads: after a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, give minions in your hand +1/+1. Lose 1 durability. Bubble Paladin, maybe?
It's that they're trying to push it as a new standard archetype. So, I mean...
And they are... And
I didn't say it was good.
The hand buff aspect of this is like I'm all here for it. Like you said, I don't know if it's good. If there were like some bubble minions with like rush and stuff like that, then yeah, sure, maybe. But the hand buff minions tend to be a little bit more proactive than the kind of like bubbles are that whole archetype kind of supports. So I like the hand buff aspect of it. I don't as much like the ask in order to get there. I can see where they're going with it, but I don't know that I like it. What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, so it doesn't... Here's my thought. It doesn't go in wild hand buff because it's contingent on the Divine Shield. I think that it's built for standard in their new... Like, we'll get there in a minute, but their legendary... The quest line that says play 1-cost cards, which this is. There's another legendary that has benefits regarding Divine Shield minions, which this has synergy with. And so it just felt like, all right, this is standard. They're trying to push the standard archetype, and this is their tool card, and it kind of sucks. Yeah, cool. Let me equip a 0 attack weapon. And I get what they're doing. I get what they're doing, and I guess maybe I'm being a little bit flippant, but I think that in terms of wild, like, oh heck yeah, I will build this and goof around with it in standard, and I'll play Divine Shield Paladin and 1-cost card Quest Paladin and goof around with it just to see how it was intended to play out. In terms of in wild though, when we're talking hand buff, like the list was pretty refined already, and so I could see pulling something out to slot in this one new card that we think is really strong, but the card has to be really strong in order for me to pull something good out and plop something in, and this card is just not really good because the contingency is too strict. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's, we'll see. I'm not a super big fan, frankly. Hydra, what do you think?
Okay, big brain. Odd Paladin is changing its game plan. We are looking for Lothraxion and the Mulligan. We're going to bubble everything up. We're going to play this. We're going to trade. We're not going to hit face. We're going to hand buff everything that way. And Odd Paladin, tier S. Just kidding. We're not doing that. I don't think it's a good card. That's basically all I got to say about that.
So that brings us to the ratings. So my rating for Prismatic Jewel Kit is a 1. How about you, Nate?
Yeah, same. I give it a 1.
Yeah, totally a 1.
That brings us to Noble Mount. Noble Mount is the mount for Paladin. It is a 2-mana spell that reads, give a minion +1/+1 and Divine Shield. When it dies, summon a Warhorse. Curiel's Warhorse is a 1-mana 1/1 beast with Divine Shield.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, I hope that my silence was deafening because
That's what I look for when I edit the show, is these big stretches of silence to just delete. Well, that's what we do with this card, just delete it.
yeah, pretty much. So
the art is great.
That's it for me.
Hey, Divine Shield's cool, right?
Thematically, like the idea of the mounts is super cool, and the cost is low. Like, okay, I wish that it was a 1 mana instead of 2. Then maybe it would be a thing. If they want to try to synergize with the new quests and all that stuff, but like, I just don't see it. I mean, my note here says like, oh, yeah, quest Paladin, and I'm talking about old quest Paladin, like Galvadon. So
Las Galariso.
Yeah, that's I bet your fun achievement deck, but it's cool, but I just don't think it's good enough. That's my issue with it. Like, it's just not good enough, and I'm not quite sure what they're getting at. I wish, like, it would have been interesting if they had made this have it cost 4 and give it like +4/+4 and Divine Shield or some significant buff, or a 3-mana +3/+3, or some, I don't know, something. But this, like, it doesn't feel significant enough. And like, all right, cool. What am I gonna do with a 1-mana 1/1 Divine Shield? Like, I just don't, nothing really. So I feel bad saying that, but I just don't like it.
No, I don't either.
No, and yeah, like, I don't like it either, but like, I can see weird fringe cases where you get to plop this on a big old minion and you can trade, blah, 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 blah. Super cool. Not putting it in my deck. If I discover it, I'll be super stoked. Like, if it just somehow lands into my hand, I'm going to be like, hell yeah. Or Arena, maybe I'll be like, yeah. I don't know. Right? But because that's value in Arena when you can make your dude stick around for the next turn. But this is not going in any wild deck, probably ever. So, rip Noble Mount.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. So as for ratings, even if this only cost 1, it would be a 1 for me. How about you, Nate?
Yeah, 1.
Uno.
That brings us to Catacomb Guard. Catacomb Guard is a 3 mana 1/4 minion with lifesteal and battle cry. Deal damage equal to this minion's attack to an enemy minion. So this is a hand buff paladin kind of like synergy card. So like if this gets buffed in your hand, then it can do something impactful on the board. It basically gets to trade without having to take the damage, and you heal up. That's pretty kickin' rad. But hand buff paladin is pretty refined, and I'm thinking that this one probably won't make the cut because there are more impactful things that hand buff would want to do. That said, what's his name? The rogue 1 mana 2/1 pirate dude who has kind of this effect, but for every card that you played before without lifesteal, is played not in the set, a previous set. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the name.
You talking about the
but-
2/1 that we play in Kingsbane Rogue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his battle cry?
He deals damage to a minion equal
Prize
to
plunderer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
prize
yeah.
plunderer. So it has kind of like a prize plunderer effect without having to have played them beforehand. You know, you're just buffing your hand to get there. So it could be pretty impactful in that manner that, hey, I've buffed this up to 8 attack. That means that your Molten Giant is gone, and now I have an, what, 8/11 on board with lifesteal. Cool.
It's going to take an awful lot to get it that big, though.
It would take a lot to get that big for sure.
So you have to be able to buff it in your hand, and that's the tricky part.
It is.
That
and
being said-
that's exactly why I'm less enamored, even though I can see the potential for it.
So I compared it to, it's called Aeon Reaver. It's a priest dragon, 6 mana 4/4 that says battle cry, deal damage to a minion equal to its attack. Now that's different because it does, you know, it's different, but it reminded me of that. I don't know, where I could see potential tempo gain here where, okay, we buff this. Maybe it is now like a 3/5 or something like that. And like, okay, you know, what is the saying, like, develop board presence while reducing your opponent's board presence or something like that. You know, develop tempo or whatever. And so cool, like I play this guy, he's got lifesteal. I remove one of their minions, I gain health because it does that damage. The trick is, like, do I tempo this out on 3 and just do 1 damage to something? Or do I let it sit in my hand and get huge? Like, I think it's worth testing. And where I struggle is, like, this is not my deck of choice. It's very strong. I just have very little experience playing the hand buff. And so I don't know if this is good enough to make the cut. I could see some experimentation being done to check it out and see maybe. But, like, if we're talking about, you know, what are our opponents playing, and if we're playing against like Dark Lair and stuff, am I going to get this big enough to kill an 8/8 or something? Like, no, probably not, but I could probably get it big enough to kill something, and I think the lifesteal might be significant, so it's worth testing, I think. And so I struggle to score this a little bit, but I think it's I want to try it. I mean, we'll get to scoring in a second, but anyways, Hydra, do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, I defaulted to looking at what Bodybuilder was thinking and looked at some theory crafts, and I don't see it on the list. So maybe experimentation, but from what I could see, it's not there. And I mean, tempoing it out to me is sort of like a bit of a feels bad, tempoing this out with just the 1/4. And then you're also in that weird stage where you're, you know, holding on to something when maybe you should have. And it's just, to me, it's a bit of an awkward card, right? And I'm by no means the hand buff expert or anything, but I hate when I have got a card where it's like, well, do I play it now? Do I play it later? When you could have a deck where, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Here you go. Like, here's all my cards. It just seems a little awkward and out of place to me. And yeah, when I was checking out bodybuilders lists, I don't see it there. But maybe we will see it. I don't think it's that good personally.
All right, let's talk scores then.
Yeah, so for scores, I'm going to give it a 2 just because I think maybe we play around with it and include it there, but I'm kind of less sold, and particularly hearing that Bodybuilder hasn't put it in any of his lists, I'm not particularly confident that we will run it. But it has possibility, so 2 for me.
Yeah.
How about you, Nate?
I gave it a 3. I think there's potential. I like that I'm dropping a lifesteal minion and potentially removing one of their minions, but it requires kind of a build up, and so, we'll see. I'm comfortable with the 3. What do you think, Hydra?
Okay, cool. I'm gonna scale her back down to a 2. I feel like it's gonna be experimented with, and it's gonna sit in that sort of fringy range. So it's a 2 for me.
Cool.
All right, that brings us to Lightbringer's Hammer, which is a 3-mana 3/2 weapon with lifesteal that cannot attack heroes. So 3 mana, 3/2. So you're healing up for 6, but you can't attack heroes. Like, no.
So it's a worse. It's a nerfed fiery war axe that heals you, but it can't go face.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's just bad.
And it's an epic. It's an epic. Don't craft it.
No. Do not craft Lightbringer's Hammer.
This goes in my Healadin deck. My note here literally says, I do not like weapons that cannot go face.
That's a good note.
Like, I get that it's decent for trading, right? Like, you can, get rid of some stuff and you can keep your board. That seems to be the idea of it.
Well, and typically that's what you do with weapons, but I want to have the option.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? Your opponent has 3 life left, and you equip this weapon, and you can't win.
Your opponent's just gonna emote at you. Like, oops.
Well, and 2, it costs 3 mana. 3.
It at least should be 2, like old school war axe or something.
Right. So, as for ratings, I'm going with the 1 for Lightbringer's Hammer.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go say 1, 1, 1.
3 attack minus 2 durability equals 1.
There it is. That's just math. That brings us to First Blade of Wren. First Blade of Wren is a 4-mana 3/5 minion. Divine Shield and the Battle Cry. Gain Rush if this has at least 4 attack. So if we're buffing our hand, we only have to do it once to get this buddy to have Rush. And then it has Rush and deals with something, and the Divine Shield gets popped. And, that's not terrible. It just costs 4 for a 3/5 stock, which isn't terrible stats.
It has Divine Shield no matter what, so there's that.
Yeah.
It does have Divine Shield regardless, but if it doesn't get up to 4 attack, which we're playing hand buff, it should be, but let's say we're top decking. It's just a Divine Shield 3/5? I don't know. Like,
It should have Rush no matter what. I mean,
yeah, if it had Rush
if
no
you're
matter
buffing,
what.
If you're, yeah.
Yeah, if it had Rush no matter what, I think I would have an easier way of assessing this, but I don't know. I think that hand buff Paladin has other things that it wants to be doing, and probably the more expensive things are either buffing or charging. And that's the only place that I can see this successfully fitting in Wild. So I'm cautious about this one, but I don't think it sees a whole lot of play. What about you, Nate?
Yeah, that's kind of what my notes say. Like, I was questioning whether it was good enough for hand buff Paladin and being unsure. Like, I see the potential. The Divine Shield seems good to me, but like it's the rush that makes it valuable. And if I have to play this without the rush, that's sad. Chances are it's not really difficult to proc, but like, yeah, if it's, like you said, if you top deck it, like, do I just want to play this flat out? Like, not really. The problem is that the wild decks get so refined. We keep saying this, but like, okay, I've got this deck that's solid as it exists right now. And in order to slot this in, I have to pull something out. And so that card has to be worse than this. And I don't know that they're like, I don't see that, So, okay, there's potential, but for me, this is more of a standard thing to go along with their Divine Shield Paladin, not a... This is like, I don't know. I mean, there's potential. I gave it a 3. Sorry, we're supposed to score separately. I see the potential here, but like, it also does, like, it doesn't seem great to me. It doesn't seem bad. It just seems like, So, Hydra, what do you think?
Yeah, so when I first looked at this card, and as not an expert on the hand buff Paladin, I initially thought that it's actually pretty good, because by turn 4, you've most likely, played Smuggler's Run or something like, or Grime Street Outfitter. That's buffing your hand. You got something going on by this point, hopefully, and so it's turn 4, and now you have this pretty sweet minion that's got Rush. It's got Divine Shield. It's got the extra attack. So it seemed good to me. And once again, I checked out what Bodybuilder was doing, and not on the list. Not on the list. I'm not the expert, but I still think it's kind of decent. So I will do our scoring after. I think it's still okay. I don't think that it's a bad card by any means. I think it definitely has potential.
Yeah, agreed on all counts. And if this was not an epic, then I would be like, oh, we're going to see it in budget builds of things. But being an epic, I think kind of rules that out a bit. All to say, for ratings, I'm going to start it off with a 2 for me.
Yeah, I gave it a 3.
3.
All right.
And that brings us to the Paladin quest line, Rise to the Occasion. Rise to the Occasion is a 1 mana quest line. The quest line is play 3 different 1-cost cards. Reward, equip a 1/4, Light's Justice.
Wait, I have a question. 3 different, yes. Does that mean I can't play like, broomstick? Or is that, it's got it
correct?
Like, oh, that makes it more difficult.
So it doesn't and doesn't, because each step, the 3 are mutually exclusive for that one, but then it resets for the next step. So say I'm
don't
playing...
keep 2 of the same 1/1s in your hand. Toss the other one. Toss the other copy.
Right.
So if I'm doing Pinflinger, and the first one, I play Pinflinger, first day of school, some other random 1-cost card. Then the next one, which is Pave the Way, which is a quest line for play 3 different 1-cost cards. Reward, upgrade your hero power. I can play my Pinflinger again, and oh, hey, look at that. It counts again, but it would not have counted if I played it a second time in the first step. So There we go. The reward for that one is upgrade your hero power. Boom. That brings us to Avenge the Fallen. Avenge the Fallen is the third step, and that is questline. Play 3 different 1-cost cards. Reward, Lightborn Cariel. Lightborn Cariel is a 5-mana 7/7, like most of the overall rewards are, with the battle cry. For the rest of the game, your Silverhand recruits have +2/+2. And that, of course, counts for your Lost in the Jungle Silverhand recruits, anything that generates Silverhand recruits outside of your hero power. And, of course, those generated by your hero power. So, we've got us here an alternate option for Odd Paladin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just going to ask
alternate
about
option.
that. Like, I was just looking at the list, and 50% of the deck are 1-cost cards.
Uh-huh.
Broomstick, Conviction, Christology, Night of Anointment, Lost in the Jungle, Oh My Yog, Righteous Cause, Righteous Protector, Tour Guide. Like, those are all 1-cost. And so my question is, like, it might not be that difficult to trigger. Do we know what going back here, do we know what the upgraded hero power is?
It's the Odd Paladin hero power.
Oh, gotcha. That one makes sense.
So you wouldn't want to run this in Odd Paladin because I don't think it would upgrade it to 3.
No, it would just stay the same, I suppose. Which is the reward.
So it's like a Justicard True Heart you got to work for?
Kind of. But it's not like you'd really have to work that hard either. Like Nate said,
it'd be pretty easy to. Yeah.
Yeah. The current Odd Paladin list already is running pretty much 50% 1-cost cards. If you're trying real hard to make it happen, you could probably make it happen even quicker. The place that I'm going to play this is with a Prince Liam deck. Prince Liam is the only non-1-cost card. And that's a Prince Liam and maybe Lothraxian. But that part's going to be a meme. Odd Paladin is obviously just strictly better.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real. But I don't think that Rise to the Occasion is altogether bad. Like we can play some of the different, dude cards that we couldn't play in Odd Paladin. Those are, more few and far between. But they do exist, like the tiger or whatnot. It's been a little while since I played Dude Paladin. That's not odd.
But there's the lion. Yeah.
Yeah, the lion, not the tiger. Thank you. Shrivala is the tiger. So I'm gonna try it out, and it'll be fun. And maybe we'll have some sort of challenge to basically have Odd Paladin, but this all to say it's basically budget Odd Paladin, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm excited to try it out. I'm excited to play with Dude Paladin and not have a whole lot of success, but have a lot of fun. How about you, Nate?
The biggest issue I see with this is just like I love being greedy. I really do. And like I want to try this in Odd Paladin just to do it, but it seems like a bad idea. Like I love the payoff of like, hey, I hit the button and I've got 3 threes. Like that's cool. But giving up turn 1 is a big gigantic tempo loss, and like can you recover from that? I don't know. Maybe not. Like those are the games that we lose, right? We typically hard mull for a 1-drop, and if I'm playing the quest, then I'm not like I don't gain anything. It's turn 1 do nothing. So I want to play it. It's going to be fun. Where it's really going to be probably pretty decent is in standard. I do see like a meme version of like Secret Paladin or Prince Liam Paladin, because like all the secrets cost 1. And so, okay, if I'm going to take a tempo loss and I need to stall a little bit, like the secrets, maybe they'll help me, because I can play Oh My Yogg and I can play, Get Down, and I could play whatever else that may buy me a little bit of time. But, anyways. So, yeah, I don't really see it. It'll be fun, but I doubt that it will be nearly good enough. Any thoughts, Hydra?
I feel like this is sort of Team 5 recognizing that Get and Baku were overpowered when they released them. And then and that this is their way of doing it nicer. Like, you got to earn it this time. I feel like it's very much a standard way of doing this. I don't think that this is going to make any sort of an impact in Wild. I don't think that we're going to be seeing this. I think that Odd Paladin will continue to be the Paladin we see along with hand buff. I don't think we're going to see this.
Yeah.
All right. So as for ratings, I think it'll be playable. But it's going to be a fringe to say the least. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go with the 2 for me. I think that some people, myself included, will meme around with Prince Liam shenanigans enough to where it'll, we'll see it, but will not be a force in the meta. What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, I agree with you. I give it a 2. I want to try it just to try it and goof around with it and have fun, but I don't see it being some like new meta breaker or something. So yeah, I give it a 2.
I guess I'm the party pooper on this one. I give it a 1.
That's fine.
I don't think that I'm going to be running into this in the
quests in general
climb.
Yeah, the quests in general are quite slow, and just these decks are so refined that, like, what do you pull out to stick this in? And that's where I really struggle. And even then, like, I mean, I remember having this conversation about Lothraxion and saying, "Oh, nah, this is just good." But that's a immediate, like, you play it and then it does the thing. Like, it doesn't take me 3 separate quests to complete to do it.
And even Lothraxion was a bit of a question, right?
It was. Yeah, no, it really was.
And this is now you got to jump through hoops to get the thing.
Yeah. Well, hoop-de-doo. Let's move on.
So the final legendary, this one the minion, for Paladin is High Lord Fordragon. So High Lord Fordragon is a 6-mana 5/5 minion with Divine Shield that reads, after a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, give a minion in your hand +5/+5. If this was a persistent effect for the rest of the game, busted. Since this only happens while the High Lord is on the board, not so much. You can't run it in Odd Paladin. This is definitely them pushing that Divine Shield Paladin in Standard. And it'll be pretty good in Standard, maybe? Question mark. But in Wild, it's a little too slow, however much the hand buffing a minion in your hand +5/+5 is really impactful. So Standard card, powerful effect, not really going to see play in Wild.
Yeah, I agree. And it requires some setup. I mean, you automatically get the 1, right? Because it's got Divine Shield. And so when this guy loses Divine Shield, like, okay, you get something. But in order to get like the uber value out of it, it's like, all right, I need a whole board of Divine Shield stuff, and then I gotta like rush them into things, and they all lose the Divine Shield, and then I get this like massive hand buffed hand. Like, that's the dream, but how often is that actually gonna happen? Not really. I really don't think so, and I don't like. Okay, if this guy cost 5, do we meme out and throw him into Odd Paladin? Like, but it feels greedy, and it feels slow, and I just don't see it. Like, it's super cool. I would be having other priorities, I think, than trying to trigger these abilities, which are cool abilities, but not really what I'm trying to do.
Don't let your memes be dreams.
I will achievement hunt with this guy for sure. There will be some things, I'm sure, but yeah, just wait until the oh god, what's it called? The blood elf guy that eats all the divine shields and gains +3/+3 each or whatever. Comes back, and you have a whole board full of divine shields, and that eats them all, and this guy buffs your hand, and that is a a Trollden video, and we'll see it for sure. But in terms of like meta, yeah, it's Blood Knight or something like that. Anyways, yeah, so that's it.
All right.
Does not seem like something, I'm gonna be playing with.
Yeah.
So wait. Hold on. Sorry, I just thought, I'm looking at the chat here and then thinking like, all right, here's the ultimate setup, right? Is you figure out a way to get all your dudes divine shield, and then you run them all into stuff. You have Leroy Jenkins in hand, right? And I just this is like Don Honcho on steroids, right? So I knock off all the divine shields. I get my Leroy to like 30 attack, and then I can OTK. There you go. I Clark Hellscream, I am calling on you to do this, please, because I don't want to do it.
I believe in Clark Hellscream, but I do not believe in the competitiveness of High Lord Fordrigan in Wild. So for ratings, I am going to give the High Lord a 1. How about you, Nate?
Rip. Yeah, I give him a 1 too. My note here says slow as dirt. That's what the note says. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, shiny but slow 1.
Oh well. I keep saying like I love the artwork. It's so cool. I do want to say I like when they go the kind of like realistic, more mature look like some of these cards, because I came from like a Magic background, and so I love that style. And Hearthstone, they have the fun, like the squirrels and the cute stuff, but when I see the ones that look realistic like this, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I like it. Card sucks, but I like it. So anyways, that's Paladin. Oh dear. All right, well that's it for this class. Moving up next, we will do the priest class. So please stay tuned for the next part in this series.